Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 211. Your weekly get-together, we talk about recent gaming news. I'm, as always, your host, Stephen Brown, and joining me today is...
I'm David.
Tonight, David. Sony shares some of its own details about the PlayStation 5, hot on the heels of the Xbox reveal, Animal Crossing is doing extremely well, and Nintendo kills dreams. Kind of. We'll get into more
that's
detail
pretty
about
accurate.
that later.
That's the best possible way you could make that statement.
But first, I want everyone here to know that this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching here live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Twitch TV/GamePoints, or later over at YouTube.com/GamePointsPC, feel free to join in the conversation with whatever questions, comments, concerns, etc. you might have. Just try to keep them germane to the topics on hand. Feel free to leave comments down below and all that good stuff. David?
Yes.
I have been playing the hell out of Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
And God,
how you liking it?
So, it is significantly longer than Doom 2016 was. And they have certainly improved on the core gameplay itself. It feels more interactive rather than just blasting things. There's actually, like, ammo is a lot more reduced. So you have to do other things to get ammo, which involves you getting more involved in the combat rather than just blasting things. For example, you have to light things on fire. You light them on fire, they drop armor. Your fire has a cooldown, so you want to make sure that you're timing it just right to get as many enemies as you can to get the armor, because once your armor goes down, your health starts running out. The chainsaw, which was a good way to get armor in 2016 Doom, now will recharge slowly over time. So there's less armor, but you have access to the chainsaw more. There's a lot more micro cooldown management, I should say.
That's an idea.
And it's definitely important to be doing that. But if I had one complaint about Doom Eternal, I love the game. Definitely so far in the running for my favorite game this year. But the pacing is off. And I know that sounds weird for Doom.
Wait, is it slow? Or is
No.
it somehow too fast?
It's not that it's too fast. It's not that slow. But it doesn't feel like I said, just the pacing is off. For example, in 2016 Doom, they had a good mix of, okay, combat room, small quarter where you explore stuff, cutscene where the Doom guy does something that shows that he's pissed off at demons everywhere, boss fight, arena, boss fight, arena, boss fight. Like, they had a good mix of that. On this, it doesn't feel like they break up the gameplay enough. So you would have, like, too many arenas back to back to back to back. Or you will go too long before you run into an arena.
Weird.
The pacing is off slightly. And I can't... A lot of reviewers will chalk it up to saying that the game's just too long. But I don't believe in the concept of the game that's too long. I think that's a misnomer. Because a 100-hour game that is excellently paced is damn good. It's
that's fair.
It's something.
There's games that are long that are still fun and enjoyable, and there's games that are short that are amazing.
Yes.
And there's like 20-hour games that feel like they took too long, and there's 100-hour games that feel like they took too long. But it's all in how they build it. It's the same thing with movies, right?
Yeah.
There's some 3-hour movies that you will sit through and you'll be like, that was a great movie. There's other ones you're like, why the am I still here?
Yeah. Doom Eternal is not too long, but it's definitely overstaying its welcome. And I'm at the final level, so I don't expect it to go much beyond this point. But like I said, there's something. I can't place my finger on what it is exactly. But there is something
There's just something that's not clicking with you the same way the first one did?
Right. And I think it's because they're not breaking up the core gameplay loop enough. Or, and I know this is exact counter to what I just said, they aren't putting enough of the core gameplay loop before they break it up. Does that make... Like, I can't determine which one it is. I
Gotcha.
don't know.
There's something wrong with the order. You're just not entirely sure which.
Yeah, I need to sit down and maybe even do like a second playthrough of it. Because I will probably play through this again, make sure I get all the collectibles, maybe on a harder difficulty. But there's something up with the pacing, and that's the best thing I can say. That said, that's like the one complaint I have about it. God damn, the game is amazing. The new id Tech engine runs like a fucking dream on my computer. I can max everything out, still stream it. It looks beautiful. I get like 144 frames a second because that's what my monitor's capped at.
Humble brag, humble brag. Something, something. My computer's nice. Whatever.
Yeah, well, my computer is nice. Fuck you. I make no apologies for being able to afford nice shit. I worked hard for my nice shit. But yeah, I would highly take a look at Doom Eternal. And, oddly enough, Animal Crossing. This is the first time I played Animal Crossing. I'm definitely into it.
I like how there was this whole. We talked about the gap where there's this Animal Crossing fan base and the Doom fan base, and there's not really any correlation, but apparently it's you. You're the guy that plays both.
I like them both. I absolutely play both. And my favorite of the memes that I saw, the Animal Crossing Doom memes are going around. We're talking about how that was like a really awesome thing that the internet had, and it's going to be a shame to see them going away. Hey, Beeps Ghost, how you doing, by the way? Good to see you. They can combine the two games. Yeah, that's what the memes have been doing. But the most touching one that I've seen is that someone took the last scene of the Fast and Furious that had Paul Walker in it after he died. You know, that scene where they branch off.
Yeah.
And they just put Isabel and Doom Guy's head on there, and they just kind of leave in two separate directions.
That's funny.
I was like, okay, that's good. Anyways, enough of what I've been playing over the past weekend. Let's go ahead and get into the topics of the week. And let's start off with Sony's, let's just call it what it was.
Keynote address from GDC.
Boring ass presentation for PlayStation 5. And yeah, you're right. Yeah, I believe it was supposed to originally be a GDC talk.
Dude, Mark Cerny's voice is like a NyQuil shot mixed with honey.
So I got a couple things.
It's so soothing.
I got a couple things I want to get into about the overall presentation before we get into what was said in there. One, Mark Cerny is one of the smartest motherfuckers in video games.
No, that's why I think it's hilarious that they send him out, because he is 100% not the most charismatic studio person of any of the major studios, right? Like they all kind of have personalities and stuff. Mark Cerny's not the personality guy. He's I am the smartest person in the room, and I will get super technical on any little thing all the time guy.
Yeah, and you could tell he has that passion for it. It's like him and John Carmack are like the only two people that I think could possibly rival each other when it comes to like the tech side of shit.
Yeah, because he's Sony's Bill Gates, not their Steve Jobs.
And for a GDC talk, he is amazing for that.
Yeah, 100%.
But that is not what this was sold as. Now, they didn't necessarily go out of the way to say, hey, this is going to be all the games and stuff like that. But that's what the narrative became. And when that happens, it's
partially created by you when you said that by the end of that, we would know everything that we know about the Xbox, about the PlayStation.
And we do. We absolutely... Am I wrong on that? Everything that we know about the Xbox, we now know about the PlayStation.
Besides, what it looks like and
fair enough.
What the games are going to be. And
to be fair, when I made that statement, I did mean tech specs. That's what I was referring to, because they themselves said this is going to be a deep dive into the tech.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we got. But the narrative ran away from them, and it came off as exceedingly boring for a show that was never meant to be exciting to begin with. But that's Sony's fault for not controlling the narrative.
Yeah, I mean, they could have just said, hey, this is our tech presentation that we were going to have at GDC.
Yeah, and they should have came out the gate and said, hey, there's not going to be any talk of games, at least from
But they did say up front, hey, this is a deep technical dive.
Yeah.
So if you expected anything other than a deep technical dive, I mean, what the fuck do you want, really?
Control the narrative. That's all I got to say. I mean, if it's not getting across right, you got to go about it a different way. But anyways, that's me going off on a tangent. I'm not like blaming Sony for having a boring conference when we all knew that it was going to be a very dull one. I am simply telling you what the reception of the internet was. Additionally, there is one thing that I really, really fucking don't understand why they did this. And it's really, really annoying. Are you still there, David? Looks like you're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, you're breaking up really bad on my end.
Okay, you're breaking up bad on mine, so we'll see how it shakes out here in a second. There's one thing that they did, and I don't know why they did it. And that's that stupid Mystery Science Theater 3000 silhouettes they had in front during the video.
That was so funny, dude.
Why would they do that?
I have no idea why there was people sitting there and whether or not they were actually people. I mean, I know they were people. I just don't know if they were there.
Yeah, I have no idea why they did that or what the point of it was, other than to look at it and go, Well, this looks dumb. Anyways, that's just my criticism of the actual presentation out of the way. We actually finally did get some hard stats on Sony. I'm going to turn this part of the presentation over to you, David, because you know the tech stuff more than I do. So go ahead and take it away. We have a comparison chart up here, which David is going to compare and contrast.
I mean, I will a little bit, but then I have more thoughts because this is the really funny part to me of what happened during that presentation, or post that presentation rather, is the entirety of the internet, either the PlayStation fans or the Xbox fans, decided that between the PlayStation and the Xbox, that they ended this talk definitively declared one of these consoles the victor before either of them were coming out.
I think we're of the same mind on this, but I'll let you go first.
Based on these numbers, but we'll talk about them. We can
I think I know what you're setting up, though.
Yeah. So we now know more about the PS5 versus the Xbox Series X, and we have those lined up together. They both have a Zen 2 CPU made by AMD. The PlayStation's running 8 cores at 3.5 gigahertz with variable frequency. The Xbox Series X is running 8 cores at a 3.8 gigahertz frequency, which, oh man, that's higher for the Xbox. That's a win there. The GPU runs at 12 teraflops for the Xbox. It's 10.28 teraflops for the PS5. Oh man, that's a bigger number for the Xbox. They still winning. They'll keep in mind that the CUs are rated at a higher gigahertz on the PlayStation as compared to the Xbox. The internal storage is larger on the Xbox. I don't need to get into all this stuff. And the big thing that the PlayStation's winning on is the I/O throughput, which is 5.5 gigs raw and 8 to 9 gigs compressed, as opposed to the Xbox, which is 2.4 gigs raw and 4.8 gigs compressed. What that means to real people is the ability of the system to read the hard drive on the PlayStation is significantly faster. So the actual processing power and graphical power of the Xbox is arguably faster, but the hard drive read speeds of the PlayStation is definitely faster. Like, without question. I thought it was hilarious that during the talk, Cerny never actually mentioned the teraflops, and he actually made fun of it.
And he knows it means nothing.
Yeah, because everybody's just decided that the teraflop number is the number that matters, right? This is the number that we've decided that means this console's better than the other one, and it's the amount of like operations per second that the graphics and processor.
That goes back to what I was trying to get at earlier about controlling the message. Microsoft won that war. They controlled the message on the teraflop front.
Because they're like, check out how many flops we got. We got hella flops.
Yes.
And they had to start the PlayStation conference with, so you guys know that flops isn't really the end all be all part of the system, right? Like, you could have the best graphics card in the world, but if the rest of your system doesn't actually support it, it doesn't fucking matter. Like,
correct.
If you have a 10-year-old motherboard with a 10-year-old processor and put an RTX 2080 in it, guess what? Your computer still sucks.
Yes. Which brings me to the overall point that I want to bring up with all these specs. On paper, technically, on paper, Microsoft is beating Sony.
Depends on what you're talking about. Graphically,
exactly.
Yes. Load times, no.
I guess you're right on that, yeah, as far as the I/O thing goes. But if you're looking at like each category they break these down on.
Now Xbox is talking about the fact that they have like suspended games and you can jump back into any game at any time and it'll just come right up. But for games that have like large open worlds, so think of any of the big open world, like the yearly Assassin's Creed games, when you go into the map, will probably pull up quicker on the PS5.
Here's the thing though.
If you care about that, but the only thing that really matters is what the fuck games do they have?
Exactly. That's what I was about to get. All this stat stuff, none of that matters. I mean, it does to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, if there aren't any games on Sony or Microsoft worth fucking playing, but they're all on the Switch, guess what console is going to fucking sell?
Mm-hmm.
The Switch, which is less powerful than one of these two. Because people, by and large, outside of your hardcore tech enthusiasts, of which there are many of, but they don't represent even, I would say, 15% of the console buying market. They are people, by and large, are going to go where the games are. And that is what they're going to focus on. Additionally, kind of touching back on what you were saying, I don't care if Microsoft beats PlayStation in one category or Sony beats Microsoft in another category. It all depends on how the fucking architecture interweaves with all of it to make it run.
See, and to me, it does. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is the accessibility of the engine and the production tools to development teams that make video games.
Yes.
Because we can always go back to, we can do this throughout the generations, right?
Yeah.
PS2 versus Xbox, which one had more horsepower?
Xbox.
100%, almost twice as much graphical power as the PS2.
Yeah,
which
but who won that fight?
Dominated the sales? Because who had better games?
Exactly.
And then PS3 versus 360, the PS3 had more horsepower, and they, also had really good games. But 360, I don't know, whatever you want to say.
But the 360 beat the PlayStation 3 in that fight. Additionally, the PlayStation 3 was notoriously difficult to develop for because of that fucking cell processor.
Yep.
The cell processor, very advanced, could do a lot of shit, but no one knew how to do anything with it.
Yes, and it couldn't play things backwards very well because in order to make the PS3 backwards compatible, they literally had to put a PS2 chip in it. Yeah. That's why it was so expensive, and that's why later versions lost that feature because they just took the PS2 chip out
and immediately dropped like $100.
Yep. And then we get to the current gen, Xbox One versus PS4. Guess what? The Xboxes that you can go buy are stronger than the PS4s.
Yeah.
The X is stronger than the Pro. The base model's better than the base PS4.
But the PlayStation 4 is the one that's winning, and that comes down to the goddamn games and controlling the message.
Yes.
And because remember that disastrous E3 conference, or glorious, depending on what side of the console war you were on, that killed the Xbox out the gate.
Yep.
Maybe not solely, but that was a part of it. And Nintendo is giving me those goddamn same vibes they gave me with the PlayStation 3. That fucking hubris. Where Microsoft is hungry, they want it, they're going for it, and Sony just feels like they're sitting back and letting shit happen and reacting rather than acting. And I'm really fucking concerned about the PlayStation 5. And I think that I right now, as of right now, if you ask me which one's going to win, I would say if you put like a gun to my head, I would say the Xbox. The new Xbox is going to beat the PlayStation 5. But that is just right now. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it is going to come down to games on it, of which we know kind of what Microsoft is going to do. We have no idea.
Well, we know what studios they bought. At least we got
definitely know what studios they bought. A couple other random tidbits, by the way. Oh, and let us know what you guys think about.
Oh yeah, who's the definitive winner based on this this sheet of numbers?
Based on this blurb, that really means nothing. Just try to keep it cool. Let's keep the fanboying down. I don't care if I'm PC Master Race. Both these consoles could go jump off a pier for all I care. But...
Yeah. Full disclosure, GamePoints doesn't give a shit which console wins as long as all their best games come to PC.
Yeah, that is the official GamePoint stance. A couple notes to go, and this is Beeps Ghost, you're a PC guy, so you don't care.
Yeah, it's just funny because we all sit up here on our cloud watching as these console peasants fight over scraps.
They fight for our entertainment, David. We sit back and just kind of do the gladiator thing. We just go thumbs down their ass. A couple things to note that are beyond tech specs. One, no real word on backwards compatibility yet beyond PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR. And this is most concerning. Sony noted that PlayStation 4's 100 most playable games will be played on PlayStation 5 when it launches, which means it's not even going to be full backwards compatibility out the gate.
That is kind of a misstep. He actually clarified it later on Twitter. It has backwards compatibility for PS4 games, but they haven't gone through and tested it to see if there's any issues or broken bits.
Okay, so that is an important clarification.
They've tested the 100 most played games from PS4 for compatibility, and they're going to keep working on checking video games and finding out if there's issues, but most of them should work out of the box. There might just be some that have graphical hiccups or whatever other problems that you might have from a system emulating another system.
I feel a lot better about that.
Yes. But
this also means...
Because I think everybody was kind of like, wait, what the hell does he mean there's only 100 games? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that threw me off.
Play every damn thing. And then he got kind of lit up on Twitter, and he clarified it later.
It also, to me, means that they're going to be pushing PlayStation Now more than ever. If you want PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, etc., I get the feeling, and I can't attest to this 100%, but I get the feeling that they're going to try to turn PlayStation Now into the equivalent, and they kind of have to, of that Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, for sure.
They have to, because if going into the next generation blind, Game Pass is such a huge fucking benefit.
Game Pass is an amazing deal. It's like $7 a month. PlayStation Now is like $20 a month.
Let's see. Chat saying started gaming as a WoW gamer. Had bought a PlayStation 3. Don't even think I paid 10 hours on it. That is me with my Xbox One, actually. I got an Xbox One. I played Sunset Overdrive on it for like 5 hours, and then went, all Microsoft games going to PC.
I think I was surprised that you even had one.
Yeah. I'll tell you about how I got it later. I don't want to brag about my good fortune because you seem to take offense to it.
It's my lot in life.
A couple other things that we have. The date still listed as a nebulous holiday 2020. No word on if that's going to get delayed because of the COVID going around. However, both Sony and Microsoft have more or less committed to a holiday 2020 date at this point. So I don't think they're getting delayed because they can't afford to delay.
Yeah, as long as they can actually get the production out there in time.
The one who says we're delaying first is going to look like the weakest one.
But we're going to wait till the last possible minute and then piss off everybody.
Yes. If I had to venture a guess which one would get delayed, I would say Sony gets delayed first before Microsoft because I don't think Sony is ready for this yet. And that's just
it just depends on who started manufacturing first.
I think
there's
Microsoft
always
has
the
been
chance.
manufacturing first.
There's always the chance that they do the old PS3 shit and they release 500,000 units and then everybody has to fight for them.
That could be it.
Same thing that happened to the Wii.
I think that Microsoft has been preparing this for way longer than Sony. And this isn't like a Microsoft Sony fanboy thing.
For sure. It feels like Microsoft has like been in the hunt and they want this so bad and they're putting all their time and energy into this. And Sony's just like, oh, is it time to make a new console? All right, let's do it.
And why would they? Because Sony is dominating Microsoft this round around. Sony would want to drag this out as long as they can. Or Microsoft
When's the last time you heard Xbox sales figures?
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I think Microsoft has been like, okay, we are ceding this generation to Sony. Start work on the next one right now. And I think they're going to go into this better equipped. Then finally, on price, Sony said, I believe that we would be able to release it as a suggested retail price that would be appealing to gamers in light of its advanced feature set, aka no price, but if we read between the lines of that statement, he is very aware of the kiss of death that is the $5.99 price point when it comes to Sony.
Yeah, but what about $5.49? They haven't tried that yet. $5.29? Come on.
David, they would be better served making it $6.49 than $5.99.
Right? Almost. And we know that the parts going into it are very expensive from all the early reports. The actual build cost of the thing is almost $500 alone.
Yeah. So
my
gut tells me $5.49 or $6.49, but they cannot make it $5.99 on it. Not even Microsoft can sell their console at $5.99. For that price is forever tainted. You just can't.
It was the old PS3 launch price.
So yeah, Beeps Ghost is asking, can we explain the $5.99 death thing? So let me take you way back when. Let's get the thing going on from Wayne's World. E3 10 years ago, I think 2008. I'm not positive on this. PlayStation 3 has its big debut. And they show it off, and they have this conference that was kind of lukewarm with the games they were showing. This is where we got the Ridge Racer joke, the giant enemy crab joke. It was very... If the internet culture was more in tune with 2008, this thing would have been meme to hell. And then they got to the price. Smart Money was thinking that this thing would probably be no more than $4.99. They announced it was coming out at $5.99, which was a price so ridiculously over the top compared to the PlayStation 2 at the time. Because I think at that point, the PlayStation 2 was selling for $199.
Yeah.
That people literally heard that and thought it was a fucking joke on the floor.
Well, and wasn't the Xbox like $3.99 or something?
I'm not too sure what the Xbox, the original Xbox launched at.
There was a significant price difference.
I am going to take a look at this real quick. Let me, what?
But yeah, it was 2006 if you're looking for it.
2006? Okay.
Yeah.
Xbox launch at
Ridge Racer.
What price did the original Xbox launch at? Trying to find it up right now so we can get you an accurate thing. Console. Okay, here we go. The original Xbox launched at $299.
That's the Xbox.
The Xbox. The Xbox 360 launched at $299.
Yeah, dude, that's insanity.
compared to PlayStation 3's 599 price point. So yeah, so forever the 599 price point is just tainted. And as someone who was working in a GameStop at that time, I'm gonna be straight with you. That PlayStation 3 had no fucking games on it until Metal Gear Solid came out a year later. It was bad. It was terrible. It was not worth getting. So that is why, for those of you who are asking or necessarily weren't involved in the gaming sphere before then, that $5.99 is such a bad price for them to go.
Also, you can find some like old school memes on the internet if you look up like Sony 599 or
Giant Enemy
Kasurai
Crab,
599.
Ridge Racer. It was definitely meme worthy. Finally, they did come out and say that Cerny himself said that the storage could be expanded upon, but he was very much warning people, don't go out and start buying hard drives for this thing just yet.
Yeah.
Because it might not be compatible, which also, either one, that means this hard drive is more advanced than we think it is, or two, they're doing that fucking proprietary shit that Sony loves so much.
They may be, but on their spec sheet, they did mention it being an NVMe drive, which are available, but they do have different specifications, so who knows what we'll get. That's the thing that we're really kind of up in the air about. We know for a fact that the Xbox is going to have proprietary expandable storage.
Yeah, we've seen the picture of it. They look like memory cards. They look like big, thick memory cards.
Yep.
And that's, for the most part, what we know about the PlayStation 5 right now. No idea what's coming in. They talked a little bit about the controller. It's going to have haptic feedback, kind of like what the remotes does, which I'm sure will add a stupid amount of cost to the remote, the controller.
So one thing that I did want to bring up in this whole PlayStation versus Xbox thing is that everybody's wrong and that all of these spec sheets don't matter at all, but the console wars actually are 100% definitively decided, and I can tell you why.
Why is that?
Because the PlayStation 5 launches with a new version of the DualShock that to charge, you plug into your console and charge via USB. The Xbox still comes with motherfucking AA batteries. What the fuck is wrong with you, Microsoft?
I didn't know that.
Are you kidding me? The new Xbox controller is still not fucking rechargeable unless you buy a, you guessed it, rechargeable battery pack sold separately.
If the controller is cheaper, I'm willing to let it slide.
Significantly cheaper,
it has to
I will
be.
let it happen. But if they're both $60 and it's an extra $30 for the battery pack, they can suck a butt.
That's true. Yeah, the battery pack and the controller combined have to equal what the Sony controller is.
And even then, I ain't spending money on AA batteries. Get out of here.
Fair enough.
What gear is it?
Let's move on to the next topic here, and it deals with the one party we haven't talked about yet, and that's Nintendo. Apparently, Animal Crossing New Horizons is selling really fucking well in the United Kingdom. And this
surprising
is via,
absolutely no one.
No, this is via gamesindustry.biz from the article here. By the way, all article links will be posted in the description down below. Nintendo's critically acclaimed sequel has sold more copies in its first week in sale than launch sales of all previous Animal Crossing games combined, including the spin-offs. The launch is 3.5 times bigger than the last game in the series, 2013's Animal Crossing New Leaf on the 3DS, which was the previous biggest launch of the series. It is also the single biggest game launch of a Nintendo Switch since the console came out, although if you combine Pokemon Sword and Shield together, those games did sell more. So, one game did not top Animal Crossing. Both games do top Animal Crossing. Keep in mind, this only factors in physical sales because Nintendo does not announce what their digital download numbers is. So, Animal Crossing's doing really goddamn well. Top selling game so far on the Switch of all time in the UK, but if it's doing well in the UK, you could probably bet these numbers translate pretty closely to the US numbers as well. David, does this surprise you at all?
No, not even a little bit. It's the first Animal Crossing game in a while. It's an Animal Crossing game on a console, not a mobile, even though, you know, the Switch is arguably a mobile system. You can still play this on a TV, and that's a big deal to a lot of people.
Yes. As an aside, it's one of the reasons why I love the Switch so much, because I used to love my handhelds. I used to love like the DS and stuff like that. But as I have gotten older, I cannot have my head down like this anymore. It kills my neck. I cannot play handheld games for more than like 30 minutes anymore.
See, to me, the only problem I had with the Switch is the tiny, tiny controllers. Because, you know, if you have real-sized people hands, it's very uncomfortable after a while. The Pro controller is great for that, but I actually just solved it with the Hori Split Pad Pro.
Mhm.
and all of a sudden that thing's actually comfortable in handheld mode. But I think most of the time I'm probably playing on my TV anyway.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, Animal Crossing is doing very, very well. However, that is not to say there isn't just a little wee bit.
It's
of
not all
controversy.
green pastures and shared fruits. 'Cause we have angry video gamers.
I
to
still
talk
only
about.
have oranges, by the way. I'm really bitter that I haven't had anything else besides oranges. I need to find some
That's-
people's houses to raid.
That's literally your fault. You just have to visit the uninhabited islands and
That
go find fruit and people.
involves me going out.
Yep.
I hate it.
Just like real life, it's never gonna happen.
Anyways, People are salty about another reason of Animal Crossing, other than the fact that they can
video gamers are salty about something.
This
What?
article via Nintendo Life. Angry players are starting to review bomb Animal Crossing New Horizons. From the article. Some players aren't happy, however, taking to the review aggregate site Metacritic to pile on its user review system. The game currently sits on an overwhelmingly positive rating of 91, but its user score is at 6.5. Almost every negative comment concerns Animal Horizons multiplayer, and specifically the way in which only one island could be created per Nintendo Switch system. Now, David,
Yes, we
This is the
knew
first-
this before the game even came out. People were
Additionally-
already mad about this like 6 months ago.
this is the first Animal Crossing I've ever played. But to
Yes.
my knowledge, isn't this always how Animal Crossing is operated?
Yes.
It tied it to the console. The very first game, the GameCube aside, because it tied it to the memory card.
Mm-hmm.
But the new Leaf that we were talking about not that long ago, wasn't it assigned to the DS or was it assigned to the cartridge?
I'm fairly sure it was assigned. I actually don't know. I never played an Animal
Now, if
Crossing
it was
game.
assigned to the cartridge, not the DS, I'm a little bit more forgiving of people being upset about this, because it's not like you can buy like a second copy of Animal Crossing and have a new village.
Yeah.
You'd have to buy a brand new Switch. That to me actually kind of is a problem.
Except for the fact that, you can just have multiple people playing on the same island, right? Isn't that the whole point?
Yes, but that
Like, if you have multiple profiles on your Switch, then you can all play on the same place?
I'm
And you can just be
doing that
neighbors?
with my wife right now, and there are things, and it's her island, there are things I cannot do.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you actually are limited.
Yes. I have to, like, for example, to turn in X number of things to get some new shops open. I can't turn those things in. I have to give them to my wife, and then she has to turn them in.
Oh, okay. That actually 100% explains people being ragey, because if you can't completely share,
Yeah.
then that's actually a pretty bad look.
Yeah, and that I get why people are upset about, but that is not why I wanted to bring this topic up. What I want to discuss, David, and I think we've talked about this before, but I'm kind of curious. I want to get your current opinion on this.
Yes.
How do you feel about review bombing in general?
It's one of the things we talked about, where some of the review bombing can be very childish, and some people just like piling on and being rageaholics. And there's the flip side of literally what other outlet do people have to vent frustrations about video games?
So do you
I mean,
think that
you
is
can't
good
really
or
write a
it is
letter.
bad?
Is Yelp good or bad?
I don't know. You tell me. I'm deliberately trying to make you make a stance. If you were forced to either,
The problem is that I have the capacity to think on both a consumer side and a developer side. And just like this goes into the Yelp argument. If you're a business owner, Yelp is the worst fucking thing that's ever happened in the history of time. If you're a consumer, you love it because you can check reviews. But by and large, most of the time, the only people that actually bother to leave reviews are people that are angry. Not a lot of people go out of their way to leave good reviews.
that's true. If
Because
Metacritic
it's
were saying
easier to be angry on the internet than it is to be happy about
let me
something.
rephrase this question a little bit. If Metacritic were to say they're stopping all user reviews, would you be in support of that move?
No.
Okay.
If you just completely silence them, that doesn't really work.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, and Beeps goes in chat saying he never makes a buy decision based on any of those. I agree.
No.
I will look at them to kind of give an idea of what the temperature of the game is, kind of to get a feel of what's out there.
I like reading the people that are glowing about it and the people that hate it, but most of the time the reviews I trust are the ones that are middling.
Yeah, like 7s, 6s, 5s.
Yeah, right in the middle. Because then there's a decent split of here's what I liked, here's what I disliked. Not, oh my god, this is the best game ever, ! That tells me nothing. And fuck this company for X unrelated reason.
Yeah. I tend to actually agree with review bombing in general. Because
Yeah.
there is, specifically when it comes to games. Now, if we want to talk about things like Yelp or shit like that, I actually separate that from everything else. Because I am talking about in the instance of games. Because it comes back to one of those topics I've ranted about multiple times, where I'm so fucking tired to feel like I'm being lied to. And there's no way to really fucking show your displeasure at that other than just not buy the game. Which, hey, I won't buy shit, but that's a silent protest. No one gets to hear about it. There needs to be some demonstrable way to show everyone that there's something fucked up with this, and it is a way to relay information out. So, for example, if there wasn't an ability to review bomb this area or this game, do you think that the general public would be made aware that there is this issue here?
So here's the thing: the general public doesn't give a shit.
Yes, but it is important that this information gets out. It is important that we have an outlet that is outside of the corporate line saying, hey, there's a fucking problem with this. Here's what it is.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely good that it exists, but like by and large, like the mass general consumer gamer, like, or people that buy video games don't really care.
And don't get me wrong.
Parents that buy Animal Crossing for their kids, most of them won't notice. Some of them might say, what the shit do you mean I need to get another Switch? Why don't you just share with your sister? Well, it won't let me do this, that, and the other thing, and they have to deal with that argument. They'll be pissed, but they won't understand why. This is something that could actually kind of explain it. So that's cool.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I'm not like sitting there saying that review bombing is some great public service or anything, because it's not. At the end of the day, it's a fucking Metacritic site, which the only people they're going to go to, Metacritic, to look at the Animal Crossing reviews, are the people going there to review bomb Animal Crossing. They already know what the problem is.
Yeah, exactly.
But we need as many outlets to say this stuff, to warn people that this is a thing that aren't controlled by Nintendo, which is, or EA, or Activision, or insert your corporation here. So that is ultimately why at the end of the day, I do side on review bombing is a good thing, and I put good in quotation marks. I think it is I don't want to say necessary, but it is one of the few checks consumers actually have to vent their frustration.
Besides like yelling at people on Twitter, but then that gets weirdly personal because the people start calling out devs directly.
Yeah.
And the poor like college age community managers running most brand companies can't actually make any kind of change.
So here's the thing about that too. This is a total aside, because the joke is whatever social media intern is running this account. But stop and think about that. Would you put like a straight out of college kid or an intern on a brand account that has millions of followers? No, you have some senior social media person on there. So I just want to
possibly, but keep in mind, senior social media person is probably still somebody in their 30s.
Yes, but it's the joke has always been like, pay this intern more when they say a good joke or something like that. I just want to say, it ain't interns and fresh out of college people running these accounts.
It might have been when they started.
10 years ago, 5 years ago, that ain't today. That shit's way too important now. You don't leave that in the hands of someone who is fresh out of college or anything, or getting paid minimum wage. You don't give your social media account to Taco Bell to some minimum wage worker, just hoping they don't decide, fuck it, I'm quitting this job and I'm going to spam horrible shit on the official Taco Bell page. Those are in control of people who are actually, I don't want to say high up at the company, but they're at least middle management. By and large. There are always exceptions to every rule. But that was just something I wanted to mention out the gate, because I've been thinking about that lately, about how we all seem to think it's just like an unpaid intern that runs those accounts, and that's just not.
I mean, I doubt they're unpaid. It's funnier to think that it's just some young kid who actually like gets social media.
Mm-hmm. No, understandable. That's a tangent though. It's something that I was thinking about, and it happened to line up perfectly. Let us know what you think about review bombing as a tool. Not if it's not.
Ooh. That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, it's a tool. What you do with it is up to you, but it is a tool that can be used. David, we have a couple more stories, and we are running out of time. So let's go ahead and get into this next one. Why we're hammering Nintendo, and let's talk about how Nintendo kills dreams. You wanna take this one?
I will absolutely talk about this, and probably the best you've ever done at headlining an article, I think, in the history of time. From GoNintendo.com, Sony is going after Dreams creators that use Nintendo IP at the request of Nintendo because Nintendo hates fun, especially when you're having it. Dreams content creator at Piece of Craft has shared a note stating that a big video game company reached out about his projects and asked him to stop. Wondering what company that is? In the same message, he states that all of his Mario projects in Dreams are now on hold.
So
To get any more specific, he received an email from the Legal and Business Affairs Division of Sony Interactive Entertainment Europe, which stated that Nintendo had objected to the use of Mario in his Dreams project.
So David, for those who don't know, go ahead.
They will not allow fun in any way, shape, or form.
For those of you who don't know, Dreams is a PlayStation game where it's essentially a creation kit. You were given a bunch of tools to create games.
Created by Media Monocle, the guys that made Little Big Planet, and it is a video game playbox filled with tools and features and tutorials and all kinds of stuff you need to make your own video game from scratch or with help or using set pieces, whatever you want to do. And a lot of people really flip and love it, and there's some really cool stuff that's coming out of it.
Now, I want to hate Nintendo on this. I want to, but I'm not going to. Despite naming the headlines.
That's fine, I can.
Despite naming this segment Nintendo Kills Dreams. It's because the way copyright law works is if you don't pursue this shit, you give up claims to pursue it on other things later. This goes back to the whole weird-ass Mojang Bethesda argument.
Literally cannot be monetized and arguably is under fair use.
It absolutely can't be monetized in the fact that you can say, hey, here's my game, and then Sony can say, to get that game, you have to buy Dreams. And it is monetizing it for Sony.
Not really. No one is going to buy Dreams to play some guy's Mario level. That is completely ridiculous.
It doesn't matter if you think it's ridiculous. I guarantee you they can argue it that way. They can go, this is a closed garden.
I hate copyright law.
That you have to pay to get in, and one of the purposes of paying to get in is the ability to play this man's knockoff of Mario.
This goes back to the entire release of the game and how when Dreams was coming out, there was all this talk about how Media Molecule was actually looking into all this stuff and how all the fan projects would be kind of free from this nonsense. Based on the nature of what it is and the fact that the games only exist within Dreams, they can't be sold outside of Dreams, and it's made for other people playing Dreams.
Here's the deeper thing. It's not Nintendo going after this one guy. It's Nintendo preventing Sony from letting this happen. Because what would be keeping Sony from going, okay, now we're just going to create all of Super Mario World in Dreams. And you can play it for free if you buy Dreams. Do you see what I'm saying? So I
hear what you're saying in your really annoying argument, but I'm still going to call bullshit on it because it's fucking stupid and law does not keep up with technology.
Well, law doesn't keep up with technology, but just because law doesn't keep up with technology doesn't mean that the law is the law.
Yep.
It sucks. I get it. I hate it too. I want to bash on them.
It's just, of course, it's fucking Nintendo.
Yeah, it is. It is always Nintendo because it's always Nintendo. And remember what we learned through the whole Mojang Bethesda thing, why they went to why they went to court over the fucking name of their game, Scrolls. It's because if they don't pursue everything, it opens up a legal door for someone else to claim, well, this person did it, so I get to. And the courts will sometimes go, well, you didn't go after that, so you must be okay with it.
No joke, I was actually looking up fair use cases to see if I could find any kind of precedent before this, but of course there isn't one.
Yeah, well, fair use has to be ultimately transformative in some way. You can't just take someone's, like, copyrighted shit and then make a story based off of it. Like, you can't, like, for example, sell...
It can be used for parody or critique or some other shit.
Yeah, but you couldn't make, say, Lethal Weapon 6.
No, but no one's going to make Mario 9 in Dreams.
Well, this guy might have been. Like I said, it's stupid, but I'm not who you have to convince. You have to convince the fucking U.S. copyright system.
And that's the problem, because you ain't going to do that.
No. So this sucks. I hate it. But as we have said before, guys, stop creating works using other people's IP. Even if you think it's an homage, even if you think that if you're going to remake Metroid 2, because another Metroid 2 remake is actually really fucking cool, but imagine if you would have taken all that work and just changed the sprites up a little bit, changed the names around a little bit, and you could have made your own goddamn game.
Or, fuck Steven, do whatever you want. Put it on the internet. Hack the planet.
And see all of your hard work not only get taken down, but face possible jail time and fines.
Yeah, the AMR 2 guy's fine.
After having his shit taken down, after getting Nintendo to read the riot act to him, he could have fucking made his own. He could have kept all the mechanics in place, changed a few sprites, changed a few names, and he could have went to some publisher like, say, Devolver, and went, hey, here's a fucking game that I made. And he could have made some money off of it. But hey, I'm just telling you that if you actually make original stuff, because doing these fan things, while cool, is not going to fly in the long scheme of things. It's just not. Sorry.
I don't think anyone's actually trying to make entire recreations of games. People are using things they're familiar with to explore concepts and kind of learn how to develop.
I get that. I understand that. But legally, it's not worth the risk right now. It's just not.
Everything's worth the risk.
No. No. David.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ.
Do you want to talk about how I'm right? Let's move on to how I'm right.
All right. You want to go ahead and hand this one over? Go for it.
Yeah. So on another episode of David is Always Right, and everything that we talked about previously, I'm also right on. No. This story is from Rely on Horror, who we brought up last week, and I think one other time in the past, all based on unsubstantiated rumors of bullshittery. Konami claims recent Silent Hill rumors are false. Surprising, I mean, I guess a couple of people. We've openly scoffed at the majority of these rumors, but most recently, multiple trusted sources of ours provided similar details regarding a Silent Hill reboot and the continuation of Silent Hills. In the pursuit of more information, we asked Konami for some answers. According to a North American PR representative for Konami, recent Silent Hill rumors are not true. Quote. Continuing the quote, we are aware of all the rumors and reports, but can confirm they are not true. I know it's not the answer your fans may want to hear, said the Konami US PR rep. We asked Konami rep for some clarification. The company's claimed that the rumors were false, asking both the reported Silent Hill reboot by SIE Japan Studio with Toyama, Ito, and Yamoka on board, as well as the separate Silent Hills revival that Sony's allegedly pitching to Kojima Productions are both not true. No response was received after a week of follow-ups. While we do trust our sources, who have shared accurate information with us about multiple game series and industry happenings in the past, publishing Konami's side of the story is important. That said, the details regarding recent rumors mostly pertain to alleged events happening between Konami Japan, SIE Japan Studio, and Kojima Productions. We've only spoken to Konami US.
So essentially what Reliant Horror is saying here is that it was the Konami US PR representative saying, hey, none of this is true.
Mm-hmm.
And Reliant Horror saying, okay, this is what the US PR development team said. Or the
but
US
all
PR
our rumors
team
were
said.
about Japan.
But all of our rumors are about Japan. And if there is a company where the left hand does not know what the right hand is doing, it is fucking Konami. And Sony. Because
I'm just going to go ahead and double down on what I said last week. This is the fakest shit of all the fake shit. It's not happening. Konami would not sell it. I doubt they'd license it. They hate money. They hate their fans. They want all of us to go fuck ourselves. And I think they can. However, that being said, if Sony releases a Silent Hills game, you know I'm going to buy it. Yeah. I don't give a shit.
I will... I said this last week too, I believe. I will believe this when I physically have it in my hand.
Yep.
All of that said...
It's just so completely ridiculous. It's so, like, wish fulfillment-y that I refuse to believe it.
Yes, and I mean, we talked about why this rumor has... It makes sense in a real-world setting with the success of Capcom with their Resident Evil reboots, with all the buzz Silent Hill gets.
There's reasons that it could potentially work, but there's always the fact that Konami's head is so far up its own ass that it's almost impossible to actually have happen.
Yeah, and until I physically have that game in my hand, I just refuse to believe that this is actually happening. But we'll see. Additionally, remember, I brought this up last time too. All this could be true, and it still never sees the light of day. Because shit gets greenlit and canceled all the time, and we never hear about it.
Although, as a minor aside, the PT in Dreams, pretty great.
Yeah, I have seen
Pretty
that
happy
trailer.
somebody made that. Look at Konami not taking it down. They're assholes, but they didn't take it down.
David, I'm going to lightning round these next few stories here because we are running out of time. First up,
I love lightning rounds.
Sony Interactive Entertainment is working with internet service providers in Europe to manage download traffic. Essentially, Sony put up a blog post saying, "Hey, because everyone's at home right now playing video games because the COVID-19 is going around and horrible shit's happening, and everyone's under kind of lockdown / quarantine / stay at home / go out to spring break and have a good time for some people."
And half the internet providers have lifted data caps, which is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life.
They are because everyone's staying home. There's a big strain on the internet, specifically bandwidth being needed for game playing. So what is happening is that Sony is straight up saying, "Hey, you're going to know slower downloads during this time." Now, it's not going to be affecting lag in your game, barring outside influences. There have been some reports of some assholes DDoSing everyone because they know everyone's staying home. But they are reducing their download speeds so they can maintain their server speeds.
Yeah, and I do like the fact that they keep the focus on making sure that the actual multiplayer aspects of the consoles are not affected. It's literally just we're throttling downloads a little bit so that we're not eating up as much of the internet, but you guys playing online shouldn't see any service interruptions.
Additionally, let's go to the next story. That's that. We were going to get big into that, but let's go ahead and go into the next thing because, like I said, we're running out of time. Microsoft is updating Minecraft with a whole bunch of new educational stuff, so that way you can have your kids learn from home while school is currently canceled. Minecraft's educational content that they've curated lets players experience the International Space Station through a partnership with NASA, learn to code with a robot, visit famous Washington, D.C. landmarks, and build 3D fractals. Find and build 3D fractals. Fractals. I can talk. I know how to speak English.
Proud of you.
And learn what it's like to be a marine biologist, among others. And they're going to be launching that free download today, and it will be available until June 30th. So Minecraft is putting up a whole bunch of informational scenes.
Also, you know how anytime you launch Minecraft, I'm not sure the last time you actually opened Minecraft, but
it was literally way back in beta 7 years ago.
They still did it then, but anytime you launched the actual launcher, when it said Minecraft, there was always like the yellow text on the side that just had all these different sayings and phrases and just
like reticulating spines and stuff.
That kind of thing, yes. But now, currently, if you're loading up Minecraft, all those things are like wash your hands, stay safe. Like there are all these like helpful educational messages, and it's really funny.
Nice. Next up on this weird coronavirus 19 docket, remember how GDC was canceled?
I do remember how GDC was canceled.
Well, apparently they have a new mini conference set coming up soon. This is via the Hollywood Reporter headline. GDC Summer, new event to replace postponed Game Developers Conference set for August. From the article. Dubbed GDC Summer, the new conference will be held August 4th through 6th at the Moscone Center in San Francisco as a, quote, 3-day celebration of the art, craft, and businesses of game development, end quote. GDC Summer is described as a unique experience from the original planned conference, but the organization says the event will retain the same high level of expert-led talks as for traditional GDC, along with a freestyle 2-day expo show on the floor August 5th through 6th. So it sounds like to me, David, what they're doing is that they're compressing all the talks into one day, and then they're going to have 2 days of an exposition.
Yep.
Cool.
Which is fun because they're moving the date enough that they're kind of bumping into PAX West.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, it's still cool. I'm excited that it still exists.
Glad that's happening because a lot of stuff that I was going to go see in the beginning canceled once GDC got canceled, including I was going to get hands-on with this game, but it got delayed. I mean, once GDC went under, they were no longer inviting people to take a look at it. And that is Sabotage's new
I'm kind of happy
game.
that you didn't get to touch the new Sabotage game because I would have been so jealous. Sabotage is the team that made The Messenger just a couple of years ago. And if you at all like the old school platformers, like especially like Ninja Gaiden from back in the day, just play The Messenger. Don't even listen to the rest of the show. Just buy The Messenger and play it.
It is damn good. And the less you know about it going into it, the better. Just understand it starts off playing like Ninja Gaiden and then go from there.
Yeah, it's got some time travel nonsense, and you actually can kind of jump from an 8-bit version of the game with an 8-bit soundtrack, and you jump into the future, and all of a sudden the game turns 16-bit with 16-bit soundtrack, and it's just super cool. And that's not the only twist it has. It actually has some other cool stuff that goes on later in the game. It's pretty tough, but man, I love it so much. Now, Sabotage is working on a new video game called Sea of Stars, which, in a totally different direction, is a turn-based RPG inspired by classics such as the old school Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, it looks real pretty too.
It looks phenomenal. The music sounds amazing. I am a dumbass, and I already kickstarted it. I couldn't help myself. Oh man, I'm too excited for it. I don't think I've backed an actual video game on Kickstarter in probably 9 years, so we'll see how that goes for me. But I'm really, really excited about this. It looks great. So take a look.
Yeah, Sabotage has a good track record so far at the Messenger, so I am willing to forgive your de facto pre-ordering of a game.
I know, right? I'm just an idiot. I had to say it up front, but...
Hey there, Dr. Yuga, how you doing? And Beeps Ghost, no, the Beastie Boys are not investors of Sabotage.
Sadly. They should be, though.
Finally, or almost finally, that wraps up the news, but we have one thing to look out this week, and this is kind of comedic, God. But we're going to finally find out if Twitter user HotGirlVideo69 is actually the video game insider that we've all been hoping for. Now, David, if you remember...
Yes.
Last week, this online cam girl essentially predicted that she said... Well, she didn't predict. She said that she had a corporate suit from Nintendo who she was dominating online, and he let slip that there was going to be a Nintendo Direct sometime this week, and they were going to tease Breath of the Wild 2 and have a 5-second teaser for Metroid, whatever the new Metroid game is.
Oh man, is it more of the logo? Can't wait for that.
People were quick to dismiss Hot Girl Video 69 on Twitter until they started looking at her past statements and realized she's actually been right on a couple things. Apparently, she might actually have a couple video game execs who pay her to dominate them, and they tell her insider secrets. So we will see this week. Nintendo tends to announce their directs on Tuesday for Wednesday.
Right, she's going to be my favorite source ever because that's the funniest thing that's ever happened.
Now, Nintendo tends to have their directs announced on Tuesday and shows them on Wednesday, or announced on Wednesday and show them on Thursday. So if we don't hear anything from this until by tomorrow, there's a good chance that the anonymous Hot Girl Video 69 could be lying to us, David.
That's true. Also, as I've stated multiple times previously, if you say there's going to be a direct every week, eventually you're right, no matter who you are. So if she comes out and says, hey, sorry, it's going to be next week, and then it's not next week.
That doesn't count.
It's going to be next week. That doesn't count.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
If it happens this week, that's impressive. If it happens literally any time, but between now and Friday, this is just internet nonsense.
But David...
But she has been right in the past. She's actually leaked things before, which is completely ridiculous and absurd and hilarious.
First of all, I'm sure she's leaked a lot of things. Second, if a cam girl online is going to lie to you, then who can you really trust?
You can trust GamePoints, your number one source for video game related news and shenanigans, I guess.
So... We're not going to know if at Hot Girl 69 or Hot Girl Video 69 is telling the truth until tomorrow or not. And it's going to be a long 24 hours before we establish this. What can I play between now and finding if a cam girl lied to me online?
It might be a while, but there actually are some video games coming out. First up, Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 3 comes out on PC this week. I swear this game already came out, but this is actually a new one. I think Cold Steel 2 is the one that I've been talking about.
I swear to God we've mentioned it, but I think you're right too. I think they've just released
the thing is
that
there's several continually running Legend of Heroes titles, and they all have kind of different universes and different storylines. Trails of Cold Steel is the kind of mecha-based one, so it's got giant robots in it. The art style, like looking at the characters, no joke, makes me think of like the old Star Ocean games.
I have to take a closer look at
this. I know the Trails games are popular, and it's got giant robots in it, so you think I'd be all over it, but it's also a slow JRPG, and I just don't have that.
Yeah, you don't do JRPGs. You can't afford to put 100 hours into grinding a game out or anything like that.
Not anymore. Now, if every single game can release like the remasters of the Final Fantasies, where they have like that 3x speed up mode, I might be able to play more RPGs because that's the greatest thing that's ever happened.
Okay, I'm looking at the trailer for this right now. You know what I get a vibe on just by... Oh, I don't want the music on. I look at this real quick, and the art style, not during the anime cutscenes, but during the actual fights, like the in-game stuff.
Yeah.
I am so reminded of Xeno Saga.
Okay. I was getting till the end of time vibes from Star Ocean.
Yeah, that too a little bit, but I get, yeah. So yeah, I might actually take a look at this. Goddamn.
There you go. Next up, man, we're just gonna talk about it now. Every other video game probably doesn't matter this week, but Half-Life Alyx came out. It's out right now. You can play it. It's on PC. It's VR only. It's the first Half-Life game in 13 years, 12 years, one of the two. It's a story about Alyx, who's in Half-Life 2. She's great. I desperately want to play it. I want this game injected into my veins.
It is getting multiple 10s across the board. Is being hailed as not only one of the greatest VR games of all time, but one of the greatest games so far this year.
Yeah, I just want to play it so bad. It's Half-Life related. I flip and love Half-Life. It's the VR title that I think we've all kind of been waiting for that actually makes VR a video game and not a tech demo. Because a lot of the big VR games that I think have released in the last few years, to me, were all just neat tech demos. Like Superhot's cool, but it's white rooms and red bad guys. And this feels like a video game. This is built as a video game, and it looks really damn good. Rhythm of the Gods comes out for Switch and PC this week. This is a rhythm game with pixel graphics where you join the strongest mortal warrior, Lyric, and slide, jump, and slash to the beat to please the gods of rhythm. So it's a auto-running, Greek-inspired rhythm game.
Okay.
As you keep in time and reveal each god's true tune.
No, I'm into it. I'm into it.
Yeah, dude. Speaking of things that you might be into, Deep Sky Derelicts Definitive Edition comes out for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC this week.
Man, this shit looks like Darkest Dungeon in space.
Dude, yeah, I actually kind of want to play this. This game looks really cool. It's an RPG card battle game, so it's got kind of like the card aesthetic. It very much looks like Darkest Dungeon.
I should say the art style looks like Darkest
Dungeon.
Dungeon.
Art style, yes. Gameplay, no, it doesn't look like that. But tactical card combat, it's got roguelike elements. You're exploring alien ships, you're fighting, you're looting, you're upgrading. It's got retro futuristic comic book aesthetic. It looks cool. We've got Twin Breaker, a Sacred Symbols adventure coming out for PS4 and Vita. This is a game that I forgot to look up because I am a bad human.
So I'll take it over. I will establish out the gate. I was given a copy of this game for free last week. I played it on the stream on Monday, and
is it Breakout?
Yeah, it's Breakout.
Okay.
It's a Breakout clone with like a story about generation ships and wormholes and shit like that, and the plot is in service to the game, so the plot gets kind of like ridiculous. Like the weapon they use is the fucking ball, but I liked it. If you're looking for like an old school arcade game, I played about 3 to 4 hours on stream on Monday on it. You can find the old VOD up on there. I liked it a bit, but like I said, I was giving it to her for free, so keep that in mind. But yeah, it's a Breakout clone.
Also out this week.
Oh,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Also important to know.
What?
Not only is it on PlayStation 4,
but
it's on Vita.
Yeah, dude, got to talk about Vita. Vita is love. Vita is life. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist: Link Evolution is a game with a stupid name that comes out for PS4 and PC this week. It's a digital card game based on that card game. If you like Yu-Gi-Oh!, you're probably already playing it. If you don't like Yu-Gi-Oh!, you're not going to start now. So, did you just ask what a Vita is, Dr. Hugo?
Dr. Hugo, I don't know if you're being joking or not, but I'm going to assume that you're not joking.
I'm hurt.
The Vita was Sony's handheld.
It's the follow-up to the PlayStation Portable, which is the original PlayStation handheld that came out back in the day. And
see, you say you're joking, Dr. Hugo, but I think we're at the point now where it's been so long since the Vita came out, there might be a legitimate... That could actually be a legitimate question these days.
Yeah.
Because I think
Vita
you can ask some people at Sony
PS4 games. You can stream PS4 games to a Vita.
You can ask people at Sony what a Vita was, and I'm sure that some of them wouldn't be able to tell you.
I really wish that
they abandoned that thing. They abandoned that goddamn system.
It was a handheld with a beautiful OLED screen that looked better than probably any phone you can get even now, that had a proper controller, It was a good size. It actually fit in your pocket. It had a bunch of cool games, but it launched with a proprietary memory card that was ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Like absurd. If you want, I mean, you can't even get a gig. Like a 512 megabyte card for the thing is hundreds of dollars. It's insanity. But it was cool, and it died because Sony abandoned it because that's what Sony does sometimes. Also out this week, Moons of Madness comes out for PS4, Xbox One. This is actually already been released, I think, on PC.
Yes.
I feel like I told you to play it back in the day. I don't know if you ever did. But
yeah,
this
I was already
is the
on
first-person, spooky, story-driven cosmic horror game where it's got science of like Mars meets Lovecraft and stuff. Did you actually get into that game?
I did play through it on stream. I ended up streaming the entire thing on it. It is essentially a walking simulator with all the pros and cons that entails. And it is set in this secret worlds universe, something I didn't realize until about halfway through the game. By the way,
cool.
referring to the Vita memory cards, I just looked up the price of the official one on Amazon. A 64 gigabyte PlayStation Vita card goes for $106 right now.
Yeah, they are insane. And it's not that they're more expensive now than they were when it launched. It's literally just that's what the price is.
Yeah, they might be like $20 more expensive now. Maybe.
Also out, Freedom Finger comes out for PS4 and Xbox One. You remember this game?
Yes.
This game's amazing. It's artistically, think Aqua Teen Hunger Force as a side scroller.
That's a good way of saying it.
It's got amazing voice acting, an amazing soundtrack. It's a music-driven side-scrolling shooter that sends you blasting and punching through 40 levels of batshit crazy action. It's got Nolan North, John DiMaggio, Sam Rego. Soundtrack's got A$AP Rock, Red Fang, Calm Trues, Power Trip, Tyson Call.
I didn't know it had Calm Trues on it. I'm shocked you haven't been singing the praises of this game harder.
Oh, my bad. Anyway, Freedom Finger. It's a game. It's rad. You can play it on PS4 and Xbox One this week. Bleeding Edge comes out for Xbox One and PC. I think this has been in like early access on Xbox for a while, but it's a competitive team-based multiplayer game. Think, I don't know, Overwatch, Paladins, Team Fortress 2, whatever. It looks a lot like a hero shooter to me, but I didn't actually play it. I keep seeing like advertisements for it. So.
Something to note that this is actually from Ninja Theory.
Ninja Theory made it? I actually did not ever see that.
I thought that might pique your interest a little bit more.
I am more interested in it now than I was when I was reading of it earlier.
Yeah, it's also not for me though. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, you're not a big competitive guy. No. Also out this week, Paper Beast comes out for PSVR. We, I think, talked about this game a while ago. This is a game that has a kind of physics-based animal simulation game all set in VR on PlayStation. So not a high-stress or competitive video game, but it's almost like a god game where you're like kind of building worlds and environments for animals to live in. And then there's like animals that you can interact with, and they've got physics and stuff, so they'll jump off cliffs and they'll eat each other.
This game's very much trying to live off its pedigree because it was developed by Eric Chahai, Chahhi. He's a French game developer who is probably most famously known for creating Another World, which in America was known as Out of This World, an old like early 90s adventure game. And this is like his return to games.
Well, we'll see how he does. War Tile comes out for Xbox One. This is a strategy RPG. It looks a lot like a board game. It's a cooldown-based strategy game in which you control a warband of Viking figurines in a miniature universe inspired by Norse mythology. This actually looks pretty fun. It looks a lot like a tabletop game. Like it kind of has like the whole hex grid, and like the characters are like static, like models almost that you're moving around and fighting with. It's actually kind of exciting. This week's got a lot of strategy RPGs.
Yeah, I'm into it.
You know how I feel about those. Element Space comes out this week for PS4 and Xbox One. This is yet another strategy RPG. The year's 2199. You're assembling an elite crew and making allies to combat a shadowy organization threatening the future of humanity. So if you don't like Norse-based strategy, maybe try this weird sci-fi-based one.
I don't like the 99 rule, by the way.
You don't like the 99 thing?
Everything always takes place in blank 99 or blank 2000, 3000, etc. Why can't it be like 2192?
I think Mega Man already fixed this when they just had 20XX.
Yeah, give me 20XX.
That's great.
And that was just a side that
That's just a funny thing to be mad about.
Just upset for no reason on that one. Go on.
How about Vampire the Masquerade Coteries in New York for Switch and PS4?
Eh.
Did you play Vampire the Masquerade?
Yeah, that's not what this is. I mean, it's same universe, but this is not like Bloodlines 2 or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I know it's not Bloodlines 2, but obviously the Masquerade is set in that whole. Is Vampire in the White Wolf universe?
Vampire is the flagship White Wolf property.
Okay, that's what I thought. So it's a traditional pen and paper RPG that was moved into the video game universe, and this is in. I mean, there's already been a Vampire the Masquerade, right? Coteries in New York is a sequel or a spinoff to it.
Vampire the Masquerade is a role playing game.
Yes, I know that.
It's set in the same universe as Werewolf the Apocalypse, Mage the Awakened.
I just can't remember if they made a standalone Vampire Masquerade video game.
There was a video game called Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. It was made by Trokia Studios.
Oh, so Bloodlines is the only Masquerade game that's come out.
Yes, and Bloodlines 2 is coming.
Yes, but it's a completely different playstyle. This is very much more a
Coteries of New York is like it's an adventure game.
Yes,
and it's, I believe, supposed to bridge the tell between the two Bloodlines games. I'm not positive on that, but think of this like a Telltale game.
Yeah, that works. Also out this week, something that I feel like you're probably going to play, Control the Foundation, the DLC for Control, which is a game a lot of people liked. I know the last DLC, some people kind of hit or miss on because it had that whole
DLC for Control, isn't it?
No, Control. They had their like the roguelike DLC. Remember what I'm talking about?
No,
they came out sometime late last year.
I don't remember that at all.
Unless I'm thinking of the wrong video game, which is entirely possible.
I think you're thinking of the wrong video game. I absolutely think you're thinking of the wrong video game.
Anyway, Control's a game that's popular, and it's got DLC coming out. Grand Guilds comes out for Switch and PC. This is yet another strategy RPG. This one's got card combat mixed in. It's story-driven. You're following the adventures of Eliza and her crew as they struggle to prevent an impending war. It's a generic RPG story, but of the strategy RPGs that are coming out this week, I think gameplay-wise, this is my second favorite. Just looking at videos and gameplay of it. Yeah, because we have another one coming up later in the list. RFL Enhanced Edition comes out for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. This is a remaster of a game that's been on PC for a little while now. This is a 16-bit, like old school Japanese style role-playing game. You're in a magical world, floating above the clouds, taking on a menacing race of vampires hidden in the dark. This is actually releasing on everything, this remaster. It's on PS4, Xbox One, Switch, PC. It's also coming out on iOS and Android. People really liked RFL. It looks great. It's got a cool soundtrack. It's very much an old, like, retro RPG. Mechorama comes out.
As an aside, I do apologize about the Control thing. They did release something called Expeditions, which I completely forgot about because it was immensely forgettable.
Okay. So it did have another little thing that wasn't major gameplay release, right?
Yes.
Okay. Mechorama comes out for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PS Vita. The only reason it's on this list is because it's coming out on Vita. This is a very popular puzzle game that is being ported from mobile. Whatever. Giantosaurus? Is that how you would say that? Giantosaurus, the game. So the problem is that this is a licensed property, so I'm sure they say it some kind of way. But Giantosaurus, really? Yeah, it comes out for PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. This is a adventure racing co-op experience. I guess there's like a TV show with giant dinosaurs called Giantosaurus. You're playing together with friends and family to help Rocky, Tiny, Mazu, and Bill save the day. It's a dinosaur racing game. I don't know who this is for, but I know it's not me. Also, this week, Saints Row 4 Re-Elected comes out on Switch. This is the second best Saints Row game, and it's out on Switch this week. If you've never played a Saints Row, I would start with the third one. It's probably cheaper, but it's very, very fun, and again, has one of the best damn soundtracks in video gaming. Just that's what they're good at. If you've never heard of a Saints Row game, it's Grand Theft Auto, except for take away all the gritty darkness and add just slapstick ridiculousness.
From the third one on.
From the third one on, yes. It started out very serious, kind of a GTA clone. The second one, it got a little weird, but they really embraced it in the third one, and the fourth one is full jump the shark, over the top ridiculous. But I still like it. It's fun. Children of the Zodiacs comes out for Xbox One and Switch. This is the last strategy RPG on my list. It's also a card battle. It's got mechanics that look really interesting to me. I think this game looks tons of fun. It's a story-driven tactical RPG in the fantasy realms of Loomis, a world divided by affluence and poverty. Take control of Nami and her fellow outcasts, utilizing a brand new deck and dice-based combat system to strike a blow to the lords and ladies' unquenchable thirst for profit. I don't know a ton about this, but just watching videos of gameplay, I think of the strategy RPGs this week look the most fun to me. Finally, last but not least, One Piece has a new video game out this week. It's One Piece Pirate Warriors 4. Apparently, there's 3 other Pirate Warriors. I don't know when those came out on Xbox One and Switch, PS4, PC. It's I don't know, One Piece. It's an anime. It's another one of those Bandai Namco, like. They have a lot of properties that they work with that they transfer into those like kind of 3D-esque RPG / fighting games. Like there's the One Piece game, there's the Naruto game, there's the Dragon Ball game, all by Bandai Namco. It's another one from that team.
David,
yeah,
I do believe that is the end of new releases, and thus
that is. I have no more new releases.
We have ran longer than we planned to, but hey, sometimes it goes that way. This has been GamePoints episode 211. And if you want to join us live next time, you can do so every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here at Twitch TV/GamePoints. If you can't make it live, though, you can always catch us over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC, where all the old shows are posted there. If you like what you saw here and you want to support the show, you guys know what streamers want. Follows with notifications turned on, bits, subs, shares, likes, etc. If you want to leave a comment, please do so down below and try to keep them germane to the conversations at hand. I am interested in what you guys have to say, but try to keep on topic, please. You can join our Discord and to reach out to other members of the community, which is provided down below on the links, either on Twitch or YouTube. You can follow the show on Twitter at GamePointsPC, David there at _Satori, or myself at CapitalistBig21. Once again, this has been GamePoints, and until next time, we're out of here.